Khandamandalakaram vyaptam yen characharam tatpadam darshidam yen tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam yen tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, from today we start a little bit on touching Kriya, along with other things, like why Kriya, what is. Now, and let me explain this. Kriya, the word, simply means a technique, a method. Any method is called a Kriya. To somebody, how do we go about this? What is the Kriya for doing this? Karma, Kriya, which means technique, method. Now, there is no technique to find the truth. But there are techniques to calm the mind so that it's capable of understanding this. Please understand this, lest you mistake the technique for the goal. So Kriya is one of the methods, and in the Yoga Shastras there are innumerable Kriyas, because there are different kinds of people, different backgrounds, different teaching. So there are different methods given in the Yoga Shastras. But, and therefore, therefore, when I say Kriya, I am talking about that particular method or technique that has come down to me from a certain tradition. There are other traditions. And the tradition through which it has come to me is from Sri Guru Babaji to my personal Guru Maheshwarnath Babaji to myself. This is the Kriya. When I say Kriya, this is what it is. Now, as I said, there are many Kriyas in Yoga Shastras. Now, the Kriya lineage, which the Self-Realization Fellowship, SRF, abroad, and Yogoda Satsang in India, are from the root Guru. The root Guru is a Buddhist expression. From the root Guru, if you check, then it is about the same tradition. There may be a little difference here and there due to various reasons, naturally, but the central Kriya and various other factors involved are same or similar. So, as far as if somebody has taken SRF Kriya or YSS Yogoda Satsang Kriya, then I can help, but you don't have to change. There is no harm if you change, because it comes from the same Parampara. You don't have to convert. I'm not in the business of converting people from one Kriya to another. No proselytization here. So, this is what it is. So what does the Kriya do? What does the technique do? Basically, it's like, having said about the Yogoda Satsang, which Yogananda Paramahamsa's lineage, the Kriya, that we are almost parallel and not opposed to each other in any way. Perhaps you'll see many common points, some that due to various reasons. But I cannot say that about other Kriyas which are around, because there are hundreds of Kriyas in the Yoga Shastras. So I have no comments on that. My suggestion would be, however, to do whatever you're doing with complete attention and stay with it instead of mixing up everything. in making it into a khichdi. Okay. So, you know what is a khichdi in India? They make quick food. They mix rice and dal together and boil them and put some spices. We can't do without spices. And then put a little ghee and mix it. It becomes like a broth, thicker broth. So I said, don't mix everything up and make into a khichdi, but now why is a method useful? Because we started today with the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which first discuss Samadhipada, first chapter. That means, where are you heading? I think that discussion is kind of exhausted now. It's over. Now, then what are we to do to move forward? Basically, Kriya is preparing the mind to decondition itself from influences and distractions so that it is open to receive that which needs to be seen. That's all. Please don't think that those who have not done Kriya cannot reach the truth. Now this is, Babaji very often asked me, in India, I don't know if you have heard of a great devotee called Mirabai. Mirabai was she was a yogini, but in the devotional path. So Babaji used to ask, what Kriya did Mirabai practice? Nothing. But she's extraordinary. The sense that from childhood her mind was totally on to that. Now, it's not easy for everyone to do that. Even if you are devotionally inclined, Kriya will and has. Don't have to change your way of thinking. So, and on the other hand, we discussed Ramana Maharshi. What Kriya did he practice? Nothing. So it's not as if, and therefore when you take Kriya, don't think that you are special people. There may be others who have no Kriya but might be there. This I am this and you are that should be stopped. This I am special, I am a Kriyavan. I am taken. Why no, I don't agree with this. There may be somebody in this wide world who has taken no Kriya, inclined to the Supreme Being. They may reach there without any Kriya necessary. But even then, it's my tradition, I need to defend it, okay? So, it has helped me. So I think whatever direction or whatever path you follow, Kriya could be quite helpful. You don't have to shift, but keep it. Okay. Now, what else does Kriya do apart from spiritual gain? Since it involves the life energies which is called prana, and since the prana builds up in the system better than in others who are not practicing, it also gives you good health physically. Now in yoga, in the science of yoga, a good healthy body is essential to have a healthy mind and to move forward in your spiritual practice. So it also contributes to your physical well-being because it gives a little more oxygen saturation to your system, to your cells. It also keeps your energy levels good. And probably the aging process in some way gets a little slow. I won't say that you will live for 200 years and never grow old, but yes, it does help to keep the body and mind fit and alert as you age. maybe person who practices Kriya and who doesn't practice Kriya, there will be a difference. The three processes which are anabolism, catabolism, which together are called, anabolism, which together are called metabolism. The anabolism levels increase and the catabolism levels decrease. So there is a adjustment. I can't say no to that because it's my experience. Well, your grey hair will not turn black with Kriya. Then all the dyeing shops and the world and the art of dyeing will have to close down. So nothing will happen. So there you are. Don't think that because of Kriya you will live for 1,000 years like Babaji, Sri Guru Babaji. Because from our point of view, Sri Guru Babaji is not a being born from the womb of a woman, but is a being, not a person. Maheshwarnath Babaji, of course, was a person like you and me, but he lived a little longer and did not allow the aging process to take hold of him for a long time. Yes, but not more than that. He also passed away. So, when I say passed away, out of respect, you can say he had samadhi. But samadhi or no samadhi, it's the same thing. It's not so respectful to say kick the bucket. So we say samadhi. That's okay. So, yeah, but there is a difference. There's something called Ichha Samadhi, which means person, a yogi, when he or she finds that it's time now, we've done our job, the body continues, it's going to be a burden to others. What's the point? I've done my job. Can wish to go and go. When this happens, a lot of importance is given to it. Samadhis are built, and then people go there and worship the samadhis. So my plan is, when you're about to go, disappear somewhere, so that nobody builds a samadhi, and then people put their own thoughts into it and say, somebody came from the samadhi and said this to me, or they said you take over the foundation, or things like that. So get out of that. So disappear when you're about to die. We have all to die, so not a bad thing, huh? Nice, wonderful. How long will you go on with the same world? Something beyond better. Okay. So, Kriya. Now, the theory of Kriya. In the human body, there are innumerable channels called the nadis. And the life energy called prana functions through these nadis. But in general, it's kind of haphazard. Many nadis, it works through something, it works through the other. We have no control over it. But it's important that the prana works in the system. Without that, you'll be dead. Prana is life energy. And fortunately for us, the prana is connected to our shwasa, which is the breath. Prana is not breath. Shwasa is breath. The prana is connected intimately to the shwasa, to the breath, so that through breathing, working on the breath, you can adjust the prana. Why would you want to adjust the prana? Among the innumerable channels or nadis through which prana moves in the human system, one of the most important, the most important nadis are the left nadi, which is called the ida, the right nadi, which is called pingala, and the central nadi, which is called the Shushumna. These are the important nadis. Of these, for most people, the Ida and the Pingala nadi is active to some extent this way, that way, little more this side, little less this side, and so on. Because many of the actions that we do are linked to these prana moving through the Ida or the Pingala. Now in yogic anatomy, some similar but not exactly the same as Gray's anatomy, on the, the left part of the brain inside, which is called the Sahasrara, the Ida starts on the left side, crosses inside, not here, but inside the same area, which is called the Ajna in the body, and then moves to the right. And the Pingala. The Ida starts on the right, crosses here, and moves down to the left. So we have the Ida here and the Pingala here. These meet at the bottom of the spine. This is the yogic anatomy. Now, if you ask me, is there anything similar in anatomy, in Gray's anatomy? Well, there is something very, very similar, but this is not exactly that, because these are energy channels, while those channels are nerve channels, which also have a kind of energy and signal and so on. So how is that? If you look at the body, you will find in the middle the spine, inside the spine is the spinal cord. The central nervous system starts from the brain straight and goes down to the bottom of the spine, to the spinal cord. Spinal cord, after all, is an extension of the brain. All the brain matter is also there in the spinal cord. So I don't know why people don't give so much attention to the spine. They only keep looking at the brain. This is an extension. You're right. You need to do some research on that. Oh, she's a doctor. Yesterday she emailed me saying, I'm just wondering what can we do about the spinal cord. As long as one doesn't break it, many things one can do. Now, and then this side, in Gray's anatomy, you will see the ganglionic chain, the parasympathetic nervous system, with the vagus nerve and everything included. And I thought there's a picture there, everybody is staring me. Or are you seeing my aura?
You want to draw? We have to go.
No. Do you get the chart? Everybody must be having on their phones. Okay. Now, the Ida Nadi is considered to be the cathode minus Nadi, and the right is the anode, the plus Nadi. Hot and cold, sun and moon. Which is why the word hata actually also comes from ha and tha. Tha for the moon and ha for the sun, both sides. They meet at the bottom of the spine, which is called the Muladhara. Now, for most purposes, including the study of quantum physics or higher matters, it's enough if the prana functions through Ida and Pingala. No, more than enough. Plus, it is also known in the Shwasa Shastra that certain things are done better when the right one is functioning, and certain things are done better when the left one is functioning. Now, this is because they come from two sides of the brain, either side of the brain. It's an established fact now that even though there's one brain, it has a left brain and a right brain. Some people are more right-brained and some are more left-brained and so on. Depending on which part, but they coordinate, of course, between the two, but there is this. So in yoga, there is also in what you call Shwasa Shastra, there are also ways and means to shift which part is working through the breath. It makes sense because the pingala is to do with the intuitive brain and the ida is to do with the practical brain. The practical brain is the one that says you are so and you are confined to only this place, you cannot occupy that space, and so on. When you address human beings, you should say they are human beings. You shouldn't say they are donkeys. I mean, this is the practical brain. Now, the left brain is the intuitive brain. Artists, musicians, you don't calculate. It just soars. And it has no such space, any of those calculations don't exist. In this matter, I would like you to read a beautiful little book written by a pathologist called Jill Bolz. Jill Bolz, B-O-L-S-T. Normally I don't ask people to read books, this is quite interesting. Jill Bolz was a pathologist in the United States who wrote a book called My Stroke of Insight. She had a stroke, hemorrhage of the blood vessels in the brain, and it happened on the left side of the brain. Since it happened on the left side of the brain, her practical brain could not function because it was filled with blood. But she just in time managed to press the buttons in the telephone and call the emergency because she was herself a pathologist. She knew what's going to happen. So therefore her right side was paralyzed and the left brain. It happens like that. This is gone, then it paralyzes the other side. And then just before she was wheeled into the hospital, she almost lost consciousness. She had a very peculiar experience. Because the practical side of the brain had stopped working and only the intuitive side took over totally, she could not confine her boundaries to just the body. For that little time before she became unconscious, she became everything in front of her. Her consciousness extended beyond her limited calculations that we have about our body and space and boundaries. She broke the boundaries and she saw a bird chirping and she was chirping, not the bird. She also didn't know how to put this properly. She said, I don't know how to say this. And when the wind blew and the plants moved, it was not the plants, she was moving. To put it short, to cut it short, she found that her consciousness was outside the boundaries in which she thought she normally is, because that calculating brain had stopped working and only the intuitive brain was working. So she wrote this book called My Stroke of Insight. So if you want to have insight, you need to have a stroke. No, we're not doing yoga for inviting strokes, but I mean, interesting book to read. So, the ida and the pingala. So, therefore, I am thinking that we should experiment and find out in the lab when the right nostril is working, what activities are done better, and when the left is working, what activities are performed better by the brain. It can be experimented, data can be collected, I'm sure. It will be a useful experiment for mankind. So this is the normal. Now, if the yogi needs to transcend the ordinary and go to realms which are extraordinary, like understanding things which cannot be expressed, like the supreme reality, the all-pervading, which we can't because we are not all-pervading, right? We are sitting here, and that's all we pervade. To, to do that, one needs to, according to Kriya, according to Yoga Shastra, of course, shift the prana, especially the main prana, which is called Mukhya prana, to the other channel, which is the central nervous system, starting from the Muladhara and going directly up through the medulla onto the Sahasrara. This is called the Shushumna. These are all bent like this straight and narrow path. Move along the straight and narrow path. You'll probably come to the gates to heaven. So, this is the Shushumna. So, this is exactly what the Kriya does. What the Kriya does is to open up the horizons of your mind to multidimensional understanding, to things which are not so confined to finiteness, which are blissful and beyond comprehension by the ordinary mind. This is all that Kriya does, and that's a great deal. So, Mukhya prana, the main energy of prana, is also called, I won't use the word, it's bandied about too much, Bhujangi, or one who is shaped like a snake. You get what I'm trying to say. I'm deliberately avoiding the use of that word because nowadays on internet with $500 you can raise your kundalini in 3 days. We are all fools who tried hard for so many years. So what to do? I mean, that's how it is. Kali Yuga. So this is the Shushumna nadi that starts from the Muladhara to the crown of the head, to Sahasrara. So what we do in Kriya, basically, is to first balance the Ida and Pingala, energies in the Ida and Pingala. If they are not balanced, you're likely to be living either as a person whose emotions predominate or as a person whose calculation predominates. When these two are balanced, and then the prana is made to enter the Shushumna nadi, then your awareness is raised from the lower to the higher to the higher. And the mind also undergoes what they call a blossoming of the different lotuses in the system. So while the last center, now there are two schools. Some schools call this the first center, some schools call this the first center. Either way, between these two, there are 5 centers. They are popularly called Chakras. Why are they called Chakras? Because it is there that two energies, plus and minus, come together and then move forward. So when they move, it creates a whirlpool of energy there. So chakra is that which rotates. So therefore they are called chakras. You may not find any chakras out there physically. No such thing. Yes. Corresponding to the place in the spine, in the Shushumna where there are chakras, in front there are plexuses formed by nerve clusters. They are not the same as the chakras. Sometimes when these are activated also one feels various things, but the chakras are actually on the spine. So we have many plexuses. The nerves come from both sides and then join together in a cluster. So you know, solar plexus is a very popular plexus. If at all you're cornered somewhere, if you give it a solid kick on the solar plexus, the guy will either take few minutes to recover, whoever does. These are well-known plexuses in martial arts as well as in the practice of yoga. So, what we are attempting to do is exactly that, to raise the energies. For that, you need to balance the breath and make the breath work in a certain way as prescribed. Now, anybody who wants, I will give you a general idea of the chakras when we look into chakra dharana. But anyone who wants to go into details of the chakras should again read some book which I would prescribe for you, like a course you are taking. So you need to read some material, prescribed material. And I'm sure you'll, after 2 chapters, you'll be so bored that you stop reading it. But it's a good idea to slowly learn it. And this is called the Shat Chakra Nirupana. There was a great yogi in Bengal called Purnananda who wrote something called the Shat Chakra Nirupana. 6 chakras are mentioned because Sahasrara is understood. And it's fortunately translated into English, and we have Author Avalon's great book, timeless book called The Serpent Power. Author Avalon, also known as Sir John O'Drough, was an English judge in the old days who got so interested in Tantra, both Tantras, Yoga Tantra. What we are dealing with is Yoga Tantra, and the other Tantra, it's the Mantrayana. That he resigned his job and became a yogi and wandered around many places. And he wrote the translation of Purnananda's Shat Chakra Nirupana, which is the serpent power. So again, read but don't practice anything without guidance. Great descriptions are there, wonderful things are there, but don't do anything without proper guidance. We are dealing with real-time energies, not some imaginary things. Okay. So you should make sure that it doesn't become like Chernobyl. So this is what we are going to learn in Kriya. Any questions on this?
Where to get the guidance if you do want to practice?
We are going to get the guidance on Kriya, so stick to it. Stick to it, read it. Maybe after reading, if you need some clarification and if you can get hold of a proper person, or you can email me, maybe, then you probably can get some answers to it. But you'll find much of the exercises already in Kriya. Anybody please, before we go forward?
So one question. So if a person is more sentimental in nature, that means one of the nadi is more active, right?
You kind of come very close to this. If you are very sentimental in nature, it could mean 2 things. One is that your pingala nadi is more active than your ida nadi. Now the pingala nadi is not only sentimental, it's also the nadi that desire, emotions, sentiment, anger, various factors are involved in this. So if you can control it a bit and make it balanced with the ida nadi, yes. But if you want to encourage your sentimentality in the direction of devotion, spiritual devotion, there is no harm. But if it comes on other side, one needs to be a little bit careful about it. You're right.
I don't know if it's a relevant question for now, but I have to ask you anyway. The duration of practice, once we start doing Kriya, I know there are minimum time you have to kind of do it.
Yeah,
is there any maximum?
It is a relevant question actually.
Is there any maximum time as well that you should not practice more than that?
Yes, very much. I would say that when you learn Kriya, practice in the beginning for 35 to 40 minutes. Don't need to exceed that. Don't get over ambitious about things. 30 to 40 minutes, if you can do, it's excellent. You can stick to this practice. Later on, as you move forward, you can increase the duration. And also try to keep the duration daily at the same rate. One day you do 15 minutes, another day 40. No, try to keep the same. Second thing, since you asked the question, it will come up at some point. When should you practice the Kriya? So Kriya, like any other exercise which involves your body, mind and soul, the best time to practice would be early morning. Early morning, just before dawn. Need not be so early that you fall asleep on the steering wheel when you go to office. Not required. But try to keep as early as possible. When the bliss of the inner self, Turiya, overtakes you, say, just a minute, I need to come directly. I need to wake up. So, early morning is the best time. You can also practice in the evening. One thing to make sure is that you haven't eaten too much. Early morning is good because you hardly eaten anything. You have almost an empty stomach. Best time to practice. If you've had a meal, say you missed the Kriya and you had breakfast, then leave 2.5 hours before you start any practice of Kriya. So therefore, while it's good to do a morning, early morning, or in the evening at dusk, or even at midday before you have lunch, it's not, all these timings are okay, but you can actually practice Kriya at any time, except follow this rule that if you had a solid meal, leave 2.5 hours. Okay. Always when you practice Kriya, if you don't have one now, get yourself an asana. Any rug which you use, but use it only for this purpose. Don't use it for anything. You can use it for chanting, you can use it for Gayatri, or you can use it for devotional and yogic practices, but don't use it for anything else. Use that only for your Kriya. It can be anything from thick rug to an woolen rug or whatever. Even a cotton rug is okay. Preferably not a rubber. Then wear comfortable, clean clothes. Well, if you are in a hot country, in a tropical country, it's very hot, you can just sit down wearing just a cowpea also. Best, keep the body bare. But in other places where it is cold, use clean set of clothes, loose and comfortable. Like the karate dress, very nice for Kriya. But use it only for your Kriya. Actually, you sit in any dress and do Kriya, but I'm saying in case you can do it, keep a set of clothes only for this. And after you do, fold it and put it away. Of course, wash once in a while. So this is something important to note. Anything else on this matter?
Just a quick follow-up on that about sitting position.
Right. Coming, yes. Sitting position. What position should you practice the Kriya? Now, any cross-leg posture is good. Any cross-leg posture. Sukhasana is okay. Or there is a cross-leg posture called Siddhasana, where only one leg is in and one leg is up, this way. Or Swastikasana. You can check the books on yoga asanas and the postures, sitting postures. And Padmasana, if you can sit, it's very good. But then don't sit in Padmasana and you'll be all kinds of pain here and you won't be able to fix your attention on meditation. So make sure that you are able to do it comfortably. Otherwise, don't attempt. Sit in Sukhasana. Good enough. Hands, as far as possible, don't lean. Keep your spine straight. Unless you have a back pain or some serious affair, then of course you have to do it. But otherwise, and this is a balanced posture, like a triangle like this. Apex up. Keep your neck and your head steady and straight. Hands, you can, this is the traditional posture. You can also sit like this, or like this, or like this. And if you are in Padmasana, this is the most natural posture.
Is the backrest okay in the beginning when you are starting out and
Yes, not only in the beginning, even in the end, it is okay to have a backrest if you have a problem. But it's nice to be able to sit without a backrest. I think if you start early enough, you might be able to.
If you're not able to sit down, then...
Well, if you're not able to sit down, chair is the only solution. What can you do?
But when you're sitting on the chair straight or cross-legged?
If the chair is big enough and comfortable, try sitting cross-legged.
No, down. Like...
Oh, you mean
in the foot.
on the foot, yes. So if you have no other way and you can only sit on a chair, cross the feet. Sit down. Put a rug under your feet. You have difficulty sitting down? Practice or?
I have a lower back pain.
Okay. So that's it.
I just have one last question. So I have
No, there are 1.5 days more. Don't say that.
right now. I have a few
Okay.
questions to ask you.
Okay.
But I've been
I knew that. That's why I asked you.
but I've been doing the Hong Saw technique for almost like 11 months now, twice a day. Sometimes I miss, but even Kriya, is it okay to do it like morning and evening?
What?
Kriya Prana. Like.
You can do the Kriya and then in the end do the Hong Saw.
I haven't taken Kriya yet.
No, so when you do the Kriya, in the end do the Hong Saw and then go into meditation. That's the best thing to do.
Thank you.
Microphone is coming.
Which Kriya in the Kriya sequence balances Ida and Pingala? Is it Mahamudra?
Mahamudra also, yes. The entire Mahamudra, when you do right, left and center, then it balances. You're right. But even the Kriya breathing, the central Kriya technique, automatically balances the breath, the Bindu breathing. These are the two. But if you are a practitioner of yoga, then normally, even without Kriya, if you practice Ashtanga Yoga, for instance, do the Anulom Vilom, which means alternate breathing through the left, hold, out, breathe, hold, exhale. This also balances the Ida and Pingala.
Thank you, sir. And the second question, is Padmasambhava the same being yogi as Matsyendranath?
No. There is a legend like that, but I don't think so. There may be two independent beings, but that's okay. Padmasambhava was a great yogi, Matsyendranath was a great yogi. Well, because Maheshwar Nathji belonged to the Nath Sampradaya, I have a link to the Nath Sampradaya. So we consider Sri Guru Babaji as Adinath, the first Nath, and then Matsyendranath, then Gorakh, down the line.
But then you also say Nityanath. So why is he not called?
Nityanath.
Why does he have two names and not?
Sri Guru is called Nityanath because he is a Nath who has been there almost forever, may not be forever. Nitya means always, is, always.
And why is he not called Adinath then?
Who?
Adinath instead of Nityanath?
The popular name is Sri Guru Babaji. You can also say Adinath. In some of the works of Gorakhnath, all the names are used. It starts with Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Then it goes to Sri Nityanathaya Namaha. Then it goes to Adinathaya Namaha. And then it starts. Don't start reading any of the Nath books, they are very complicated. Especially Gorakhnath.
Sir, I have been chanting Gayatri mantra for years.
Yes.
And Om with you.
Yes. Yes. I know that.
And I wonder, is it better to do in the beginning or at the very end of Kriya?
In the beginning.
In the beginning.
So, which means you have to adjust your time a little earlier. So you finish the chanting and then you do. Okay, the other way is to finish your Kriya and before you go into silent meditation, do it.
I usually do it at the end.
Okay,
I love
fine.
it.
No problem.
No problem. And then another question about Om, when I chant with you, but also I had different ways of chanting Om. I'm a little bit confused. I mean, I follow you, but if you chant Om, you know, what is the difference? Oh, I'm excited. Sorry. What is the difference?
Okay. Now look, although the Om consists of three syllables, A, U and Ma. I have noticed that some people give too much attention to the first A. You start Om and they're going on shouting Ah. You don't know when they're going to shut their mouth. So while it is three syllables, you do it, that A is only In fact, from our point of view, we give more stress to So even if you're finished with from A, you quickly shift to the U mode and go to the Ma. Don't stop suddenly with It's this Ma sound which generates the energy for the Mukhya Prana to move. It's also a healing energy which heals the cells of the body, the Ma sound. It is the most common sound that you will hear. If you go to a place where patients are convalescing after an illness, what is the most common sound? Because somehow the body realizes there is a built-in healing influence for this.
But also when we do Brahmi pranayama, it is more. This is the that is important,
Yes,
right?
yes. Do Brahmari, you sit and do Brahmari. We've learned Brahmari. And do no Brahmari. Rohit, quickly shut it short. Start with a the bumblebee is the ma.
There will be more questions, right?
I actually got scared. I went somewhere. They said, let's all start Om, and somebody in front said, and I thought something has happened. I said, what happened? No, nothing. No.
So I would like to know about Kechari and the importance of Kechari in Kriya.
Let's go there, no? First, let's go to Kriya, then we'll talk about Kechari. We've not started the practice yet. We're just looking at avoided looking at it till now. So.
Hello, sir. Do you have to take shower before Kriya?
Good question. Not required. Well, if you feel better with shower, yes, even asanas after shower are easier to do. So if you feel better, yes, you can, but there is no need actually. There's no condition that you should have a bath before doing Kriya. I would say if you are in a temperate region, it's better you do Kriya and then wait for 5-10 minutes and go have a bath, because Kriya generates heat in the system, so there will be a lot of sweating and so on. You won't feel it here much, but it's good too. In the Himalayas, it's like here, you don't feel any sweating much.
I'm a little confused about exact locations, how important it is. Exact locations for each chakra, because in different books, the spine is a little curved, right? In one book it said that men and women have position of the Muladhara in different places. And since the spine is curved, other Muladhara and Sahasrara moved a little bit, shifted forward, or it is in a straight line.
I will discuss that when we come to the chakra dharana, but personally, all that I have studied all these years, it is same for man and woman. There is no difference in the chakras.
On a straight line?
Straight line as the spine goes.
Okay. On the inner side of the spine? Or outside? Or
Inside.
Okay.
Not outside.
Okay, thank you.
But we'll give it a little more time when we go to the chakras.
I notice when I'm chanting Om, I notice sometimes that I have trouble with the moon part of it. I'm not able to extend the moon for very long. What does that mean?
Doesn't mean anything. Start working on it. You get there.
Earlier we said that in the left, when the guy is working, the left nostril is open and vice versa. So, is it safe to say that if both the channels are working, then both the nostrils are open? But is it safe to assume the vice versa as well, as in if both the nostrils are open, then is it safe to conclude that then both?
It's easier to do the Shushumna then.
Yeah, so sometimes I have noticed that even if you run or do some heavy exercise, even at that time both the nostrils are open, but I always thought that it's because the body requires more oxygen than it's trying to.
That's also true. Both are true. But you can't do your Kriya while running. So when you sit down and when both are balanced, then certainly it's a plus point to move into the Shushumna. But it could be also because you are running and therefore the body requires more oxygen, that Whatever is blocked is this. It's not related to this.
So that is completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Are these, sorry, are these all the requirements we need to have? You told us
Which requirement?
to make Kriya, which Maheshwara Babaji told you, five, to close and
No. These requirements, especially for a beginner, helps to move forward. You know what happens you can do Kriya even sitting naked. There's no harm. In fact, better. Not now, of course. So what happens is, you see, if you wear a set of clothes, or if you have an asana, which you use continuously, very soon some kind of relationship builds up between your clothes and what you used, even your bed. So if somebody else sits there, then it intrudes on your mindset, your mind. So suppose I am using asana only for my Kriya, and then I give it to somebody else. Somebody says, hey, please give it to me. If you don't give it to me, I won't meet you tomorrow for dinner, and so on. You give it. Now that person sits on it, and after a while, that person's thoughts have a habit of clinging to things that you have. So when you sit, you start thinking little bit like the other person. To avoid that, especially in the beginning, it's a good thing to have your own asana. These are not hard and fast rules, but they are conducive to your meditation. I forgot, since we are discussing the postures, there is also a beautiful posture with a yoga patta, which means get yourself a belt, nice belt which doesn't hurt you, soft belt, and put it around your waist so that it comes here. Buckle it here. This is a good posture. It's a traditional yogic posture. In Kerala, if you go to the Ayyappa temple, you'll see Ayyappa sitting there. This is called the yoga patta here. The Jains and the Buddhists used it a lot in the early times. This Patanjali is often represented with the yoga patta. This is also a nice posture. Since we are on the subject. Yeah, something like that. Do you have one? You have one?
I think so.
Oh, can I?
I haven't tried it actually. It came with the package. So with the cushion or without the cushion, you would use it?
Yeah. Huh? With or without it? See? Now take it a little up and tighten it a bit. So. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So this is the whole. So now everybody start making yoga patta. You see, this is very comfortable. Put your hands on the knees. Nice. Especially people who can't sit fully like this. This is a very useful. You should try this. But keep a cushion underneath. Okay.
Why not rubber? All the yoga mats are rubber.
Yeah, but yoga practice. But when you do Kriya, try to do it on. Either put a cloth on it. Something. Because it is a synthetic material. Try to avoid synthetic materials as much as possible. Don't give too much business to the Chinese. No.
Just on the grass, under the trees, okay?
I'm joking, sorry.
Just on the grass, under the tree, no mat.
No,
okay?
Put a cloth.
Cloth.
Put a piece of cloth there. and sit on it. Okay, so over. Can we come back and talk about it? We have one more session in the evening where I am going to give you the Guru Mantra first to start. Okay. See, we have to go slowly. Priyanka, you have lost a lot of weight.